Good morning, everyone, and thank you once again for tuning into South Florida Sunday with me, your host, Marian Dozier of TYSmedia.net. And, you know, I almost feel like I should apologize because I have not been mentioning Mayor Masters, and this is still his show. I am his co-host, but he will not be on the show again until probably till mid-March. After his re-election campaign is over. So even though I have not been mentioning him, we do recall Mayor Masters and we do love him, and we will see him when he returns to join us on the big event here on Sunday mornings. But today's guest, ladies and gentlemen, is Anthony Ashe, the young owner of Rated R Fitness based in West Palm Beach. Mr. Ashe founded Rated R Fitness in 2012 to work with clients in fitness and weight training, yes, but also in health, proper eating, and spirituality. The work is a testament to what he learned from his mother, Angela Burrs. But did he learn that at her knee growing up? No, he learned that after she fell ill with cancer and nearly died. Now, though he was only 13 years old at the time she got sick, Mr. Ashe learned from her and the effects of her illness how critically important it is to take care of the human body, and that body was meant to move. So today, his clients will meet him at the gym and work out, but Mr. Ashe also wants to know what's in the refrigerator at home. And he's even been known to take them, his gym clients, grocery shopping. Okay? Because what you eat at the table, in other words, is as important as what you do away from the table. So Mr. Ashe, who's 37, is also an Army veteran and a married father of 4. He is a member of Christ Fellowship and is a very spiritual young man, as you will learn. One thing I can definitely tell you, ladies and gentlemen, because I was in the gym one day and I overheard Mr. Ashe talking to this guy. I had never seen either one of them before. But what I overheard, though, his message was clear. Work hard, eat well, and pray. Mr. Ashe, welcome to South Florida Sunday.
Thank you for having me. It's a blessing to be here this Sunday morning. It is
and I hope that y'all, ladies and gentlemen, get a sense of his spirituality listening to him, because every time I talk to him, I'm amazed. I really am. Somebody your age who is so faithful and so strong and so committed.
Definitely came from I like to say life lessons. That Angela Burrs, that lady you named earlier. Yeah. That one there, that's my world, that's my heart, that's my foundation. I thank God that I'm not perfect, but I was raised into a really church Christian founded family, and that kind of kept me very grounded, and it taught me a whole lot, and it's still teaching me.
And I can see it all in your face and in your body, sir. Now tell us, why did you start Rated R Fitness, though?
Rated R Fitness. Yeah, that's a good. Everybody asks me that. Well, I started Rated R Fitness. Definitely piggybacking off of what you've already stated. My mom, and just seeing during that time when I was 13 years old, my mom suffering a rare cancer that our comedian Bernie Mac, a lot of us know about it, but a lot of us don't know about this particular disease called sarcoidosis.
Oh, and, that's a scary version of cancer. It will kill you very quickly.
It starts as a disease, and it turns itself into a cancer if it's not controlled in its disease state. So it's a very rare cancer that I think it's the only one known to man that it actually doesn't start off as a cancer. It's actually just a regular disease.
So I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Very interesting. And so just to fast forward, what made me really start up Rated R Fitness was one day, of course, family members, just being in the church all of my life, literally born in the church. My mom is a pastor's daughter, so I didn't have a choice. It was 3, sometimes 4 days a week in church for various reasons. And
but you liked being there, though, because like most people, when they have to go, when they go to church, they feel like, oh my God, I got to go to church again. Especially, when you're growing up, but you enjoyed it.
I definitely enjoyed it at a certain age. Of course, when we were very young, we look at it as, we going because they're making us go.
Right.
Until I started liking it early on. I would say around about 10, 11, when my understanding because I've always been a real different type of a listener.
Yeah.
And once I really started seeing the tangible things, like my mom ain't just walking around the house tearing and praying through the night and talking to some nobody, and just noticing, her, just how she carried herself and, her prayer time and seeing the manifestations of it. I started putting two and two together. As kids, we always seem to look at him as some big superhero. And there isn't an understanding. But, again, my understanding took place around about the age of 10, 11. And all the teachings, the Sunday schools, again, looking at my mom pray and us struggling through our own realistic struggles in life. And I started realizing that, this somebody that my mama praying to and crying out to and praising at certain times of the night, sometimes waking me up. I think they helping. I think it's working, So that started to excite me that it ain't just some kind of superstition, but God is actually real. So from that age, about 11, I started to take God serious, and I was a little bit more excited about church than the average 11-year-old.
And I guess that was kind of the foundation to why, even when you did start Rated R Fitness, you made sure there was a spiritual component to it too.
Definitely.
That's why I'm still surprised that you open. The more I talk to you and stuff, I'm more surprised that you did not start a church or a ministry. But maybe in a sense, that's what Rated R is for you.
And it's funny you say that because the new thing I've started saying last year actually was it's just not my profession or my career. I specifically said that it's my ministry. I think we all have a ministry. It's not about the ministry. A lot of times when we hear the word ministry, we just think of being a part of a ministry at the church, right, inside of the church building. But we all have gifts and talents and a passion that God placed in us. And through that, we're to do ministry through our gifts and our talents. So that's why I say Rated R Fitness is my ministry.
Rated R. Not a movie.
Not a movie. But how I came up, I know everybody, Rated R, what is Rated R?
Where is the theater?
One day in 2012, as I was, of course, praying about what I was going to name my fitness business, I knew that I wanted to do it. I knew I wanted to help people. And I just didn't know what, the name was going to be.
Yeah.
And it came to me so clear one day. I was listening to a very popular group, a gospel, Christian rap, however you want to call them. A lot of people have a lot of terminologies for it, but it's a group called 116 Click. A lot of different names like Andy Mineo, Lecrae, Tadashi. I can go on and on. It's a big group called 116, and a guy named Trip Lee, an artist named Trip Lee, I was listening to one day, and I didn't know that it was going to come through me listening to a song, and the name of his song was titled Reborn, Renewed, Reinvented. Speaking of, mind, body, and soul, all around, we all constantly need to be reborn, renewed, and reinvented. And I didn't want to, of course, make it those exact names.
Right.
So it was a play on word. It came to me one day, Rated R.
Rated R. I didn't know that. That's cool.
And the R stands for Reborn, Renewed, Reinvented.
So I don't want to go talk a whole lot, go on and on about your mother, but it just that's so compelling to me. So I'm just wondering, when you were younger, at age 13 or whatever, what did you see, during your mother's illness that changed you, that made you, that really changed your path?
Okay, let's see if I can make this. That's a big question. It's all of has everything to do with why I do what I do, why Rated R even exists. It was very interesting. My mom at that time in the late 90s, it wasn't even popular to hear anything about health, especially in the Black African American community. We wasn't talking about health is wealth, and like right now we use the terms being woke, and people weren't woke back then. We were just going with the flow.
That's why
of what we see, what we hear, what we were taught as it pertains to health. Anything dealing with your health, you go to the hospital, and those people who wear those big white jackets, those are the health gods on earth, and you're to listen to what they have to say, and that's it.
Right.
So being that when my mom fell ill from an illness and a disease we had never not only heard about, but we weren't familiar with a disease and cancer. I had never seen my mom sick before, so to see my mom,
she'd always been strong and supportive,
always been as a single parent. Moving to Georgia, Augusta, Georgia, leaving West Palm, was by herself. So I've always known my mom to be this survivor, this strong superwoman. And so to see my mom all of a sudden fall ill, I didn't understand why my mom was, losing her weight, losing her hair, just losing her strength overall. And being that I'm a parent now, I can look back on it and reference to sometimes life gets hard as a single parent, and you're stressed, and then you're depressed, and you hide it
walk
sometimes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
And my mom raising 2 boys by herself, now being a father, I can look back and say, you know what, my mom was stressed. She was depressed. There was no family in Augusta. We moved to a city that was completely foreign, no help. She might have had one friend that lived in Augusta. And make a long story short, the strength of this disease that spreads in your body is caused by stress and depression. And I want to make this kind of point to a lot of people, because a lot of times daily we stress and we worry about things. And health is so important. If you don't get yourself together, if you stress less, if you don't stress less, if you don't find a way to not worry and really be depressed, what we don't realize is it affects our health in our body. It's not just a feeling and we can get over it. Actually, it correlates to the internal body. So if you're worrying about something, if you're severely stressed or depressed, it can actually turn into a disease, an ailment.
Yeah, an illness. An ailment,
A lot of times we'll be looking for something else tangible and not even realizing, we're not taking care of our body. And it's also diet produced too. I made a comment coming into the show. I was in the lobby while I was waiting on you, and it was so funny because a lot of people we try to look for reasons why we're not morning people, or why we quote unquote woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And I just helped a young lady in the lobby understand that it's almost 100% diet produced. We don't realize how having the wrong type of diet leads and causes a lot of different things. Your attitude, your focus, going to work in the morning, your kids, if you have kids, what you're feeding them in the morning is very vital to how they're receptacle to the information that they're given at school. How much they're actually in tune. How my kids are they're not, of course, the best kids or the most perfect kids, but the way their diet is set up, it allows them to go to school and have a great attention span. Yeah. The diet, even so, not to go off track. Again, your diet it leads to so many different things. It can cause you being in the wrong type of a mood, waking up with an attitude, and you're not even knowing it. You're thinking about something you might have did, or somebody that might have rubbed you the wrong way the previous day, when it really is honestly you have a horrible diet in your body.
You ate last night.
The bad endorphins that's being passed through your bloodstream, and so now you have a migraine, or you're starting to produce an attitude, or get in a bad mood. It's diet produced, and we sleep on that. So getting back on the point, my mom was really stressed and depressed, and on top of that, of course, being a single mother, having a crazy type of a budget to support us and keep a roof over our heads.
One.
Yeah,
yes.
It was very.
I know the feeling.
We got by what we can get by. We didn't eat the best, but we ate. She provided. So all these things, I guess it started to wear on her, and I didn't understand, and she didn't know that it started to wear on her body.
And it's interesting though that, as you grew, as you got older and stuff, I'm surprised you didn't think like of, medication. Why didn't you think, like medication? You know what I'm saying? Like you're thinking health, fitness, strength.
Well, you know what? To answer your question,
people tend to think pills.
We did, and you know what? And you're absolutely right. And we did initially go that route. And I'm going to tell you what quickly got us off of that route. And it's one of the biggest things I talk about every day, even when I met you. Medication, hospitals. My mother was sick. She, out of the blue, just to kind of give you a quick idea of how bad it was, my mom was throwing up blood. I've never saw a person in my life throw up blood, pure blood. It was attacking all of her major organs. I'll just say that to make a long story short. It was attacking all her major organs. It spread it through her body. My mother was on not 1, 2, or 3 medications. I remember very, very vaguely. Not even vague. I remember very well, like it was yesterday, that my mom carried around a purse because I'm the baby. I was the baby boy. I carried around her medication bag. That's how much medication she had. Wow. She had a bag for it. And like most of us do, we only listen to the doctors back to that point. And their job is to prescribe us based on what they think our condition is. And, of course, we understand the money that's involved in the pharmaceutical companies. And, again, back in the 90s, we weren't woke. So all we knew to do was listen to what the doctor said. Take every type of medication.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's 4, 5, 6. Take these however many times you need to take it, and if there's any side effects, we'll switch the medication.
And that's the interesting thing too about pills. It's like, okay, the pill will solve this problem, but then it creates 2 other problems.
It's because I like to say, I don't know if anybody else said it this way before, but I like to say it this way. I don't think it's no more real than this. Medication for everybody's body is foreign. I'll repeat that. We're a God-made vessel. We're created by a God, and our bodies are definitely spiritual. And when we put a man-made object in a spiritual-made body, it becomes instantly foreign to the body. That's why there isn't one in the world that I don't care how smart a scientist or chemist is, they cannot formulate, or they cannot make any type of medication without a side effect, because the body will break it down.
Mm-hmm.
Once it breaks it down, it kicks it back, and it becomes foreign to the body because it doesn't understand a man-made object and trying to heal itself. Because when God created our body, He created it to be healed a certain type of a way, and not through medication. He didn't put us all here to say, okay, now I'm gonna put you in the hands of another man that's gonna formulate things called chemicals and things of that nature.
And
that's
make
not
you
even
better.
That's not even good for the body, and that's gonna make you better. No, it doesn't work that way.
So how did you decide, once you created Rated R Fitness, how did you come to decide that you needed to add, faith and spirituality to the mix?
Well, on my mom's dying bed.
But she didn't die.
No, well, I'm not gonna say on her diet. Well, let me rephrase that.
Bed?
On her sick bed. I apologize. Cancer thought it was going to take my mom out, but it didn't. On my mom's
and you
sick
probably
bed,
did too at that time.
All of us did. Our family. Once it got to the point to where the hospital, of course, once you get to a very severe state, they'll say that there isn't anything else that they can do, which is technically correct, because based on the medication and their understanding of what they went to school for, once those things fail them, they don't know what else to tell you. That's why I have to say this, and pause right there. You have to put your trust in something other bigger than man. And our trust at the time in the 90s was all in man, because we didn't have any understanding of health in the body. And once my mother was on her sick bed, to the point to where she written her will, because I was transitioning into the 9th grade, 14 years old, and at that point my mom was pretty much being taken care of by nurses, and she really couldn't be at the house because of how many times she would have to be rushed to the hospital due to her condition, so they just kept her there. And at that point is when she started to realize that maybe I need to write a will out. I don't think I'm going to see my children, my 2 sons, graduate from high school. And the pills were failing my mom, the medication wasn't working, the treatment wasn't working, and this is where I began to get upset, because my only understanding was these people with these white capes on, they have all the answers. So why isn't my mom getting any better? Somebody's lying. Somebody ain't telling me something. And at that point, of course, her condition had gotten so bad. It being my mom, we didn't just let everybody know. That's a serious situation. So as it got really worse, the people that we were very close to in the church, we was attending a church called Living Word Christian Center in Augusta, Georgia. In Augusta, Georgia at the time. And one of our very dear friends to our family, an evangelist from Jamaica, her name was Evangelist Lois Franklin, and I'll never forget her. She came in, and once she got wind of, the secret, we was kind of keeping it under the wraps that my mom was really doing that bad. Of course, missing every Sunday after Sunday Bible study, and we weren't showing up to the ministry things we were a part of. The red flag went off, and make a long story short, she came in and began to start to educate us, not only on health in the body and why my mom is suffering, but she started to try to teach us exactly what we needed to do and how we needed to trust her, and that she actually had the answers.
So was she a doctor?
No, she wasn't a certified doctor. It was the knowledge which I learned, and that's another. I'm glad you asked that, because we were so brainwashed into seeing, well, if you don't have a certification, if you don't have doctor in front of your name, or if you don't have the credentials that, other people may know of, then who are you for us to listen to? Like, it's impossible that you can help my mom, and we don't see that you have any type of credentials. And if these health guys in here can't help my mom, then who are you? In all due respect, evangelist, we see you 3-4 times a week, every Sunday. You're in the front pew, like, right. You ain't finna save my mama life,
But I guess that, dealing with her and seeing how your mother improved thanks to her input, I guess that is what helped you see that as we grow and change and get healthier or get our bodies in shape, or in terms of what the rated R, that spirituality and faith needs to be a part of that process.
Yes. Yeah. And what I've learned was it has to be a part of almost every process, especially the process dealing with your temple. Make a long story short, she convinced us that raw food, aka living food, was going to bring my mom's health, restore my mom's health, and she will not die. And when she used those terms, again, I have to keep saying this because this was the late 90s. Yep. I looked at her, and the rest of my family looked at her as if she was really going crazy. My mind, even at 13, 14 years old, I remember, because I was so intelligent for my age, I remember being sarcastic and even saying, well, I've never heard of what you're talking about. Food is going to save I come from an intelligent right. I come from an intelligent family. Right. How come my grandfather's a pastor? I ain't never heard him, say anything. What about our world black, African American leaders in the world? I've never heard in our history of anybody, leaders, Malcolm and Dr. Martin Luther King. Nobody touched on what you're talking about. So it's
about eating raw food, a food that grows up out of the ground.
And I remember her specifically saying the words. She used the terminologies. The key to your mom and everybody's health is eating food birthed from the earth. And that really rung a bell.
So when you have your clients with rated R and you're telling them that, you're saying, okay, it's not just working out in the gym, it's also what you eat and what you do on Sunday. Do they hear you?
They really do. It's funny that you say that, because it's at this point, it's easier for them to hear me, because the majority of my clients are definitely grown. they're adults, even though I train all the way down to children. But my point is, most of my clients are grown. So at the point of having their own life and going through their own experiences, when they come across me, being I like to hashtag I'm not your average trainer, and they hear my quick testimony, and then they hear my knowledge, and they start hearing the things that I recommend, it makes sense to them, because they'll say, oh, you know what, you're right, because I remember this day I tried this and I did, so they listen, and it's funny, they listen, they easily listen, because they've already tried a lot of things on their own. So when they come across me and I break things down and I make it live the way I do, it actually is what draws people in, and it helps me to actually gain clients, because they hear not only my passion, but they know it's real because of things that they've tried on their own. And I actually clear up a lot of misconceptions that maybe they even had. And as it pertains to health, because a lot of us, even when it comes to supplements and eating the right type of things, because you have to know your own body. You can't just apply what worked for your friend and a diet they tried. You can't just apply it to yourself,
So how do you infuse that into the training day? Is it just talking, or?
It's both. I'm training and talking at the same time. And it's funny, because if any of my clients hear this, they'll laugh, because I am very much a talker. I'm a huge communicator. I believe in not just telling somebody what to do, but telling them why they're doing it, and educating them, on what. And
then showing them.
I love to work out with my clients, but
because ladies and gentlemen, y'all should see his body. Okay, very fit.
You are what you eat. You are what you eat.
Yeah.
But to just jump back on the importance of that raw food, that living food, because that's really the key at the end of the day. We're living organisms, and to kind of sum up what made everything kind of make sense to us, because instantly she had to give us a really deep lesson, and we had to trust her with my mother's life.
Did your mother trust her?
Eventually she did, after she explained how she was going to help my mom survive and beat cancer.
That's so interesting.
And because if a doctor that was certified and went to school for this couldn't help, with his medication and his treatment and his radiation. What was Miss Evangelist Lois Franklin from Jamaica, and we see her at church on Sunday and Bible studies. How was she finna save my mom's life?
Right.
Well, what she did was what instantly got us, I guess, trusting her was she had to say something that we can actually relate to and something that was tangible. And the one thing she related to was she went back to the Word, and which we can all relate to, that was raised in the church. And being 13, she really had to say something for me to understand, because I wasn't finna trust nobody with my mom, and my mom was already passed, and I only have one. I don't get another one, so you're going to really have to tell me something. And this evangelist lady from Jamaica started to say, well, she cut straight to the point. Well, son, as you learned in Bible study, even in your children's church, that Adam and Eve was put in the garden where everything they needed, God said everything was good, and everything they needed was in the garden. Health pertaining to everything of their life. And when she said that, I'm listening. I'm following her. You're right. And I don't know how that's going to pertain to saving my mom's life.
Okay, because she's laying here on this bed and she ain't looking good.
And you sounding good, but that's not helping my mom, because you can sound good.
Yeah. But you would credit what the evangelist did with bringing your mother back to health.
Oh, man.
And she's now in remission, right?
She is very healthy to this day.
Wow. And did she change her diet and the way she
Yes, ma'am. She eventually changed everything. It changed our entire family's mindset when it comes to food. It instantly let us know that we was always eating incorrectly based on tradition, our culture. What my mama, grandmama them used to cook, how
all
they
that
used to
fried
cook,
food,
fat back, neck bones, and everything. Every type of pork, type of meat got to be in, vegetables, greens, and beans that we cook. And we didn't realize that we were substituting our health for taste buds. We wanted it to taste good, but we didn't realize that what we were doing was we was changing our genetic pool. And that's another thing that almost had us brainwashed too. And the doctors, what they'll do, and what hospitals will do, is if you're going for any type of an issue or illness or anything, what they'll do is, it's not that they're lying. They don't tell the whole truth. So they'll mislead you. What they'll say is, for instance, if you go in, Marion, and you have an issue, the first thing your doctor's going to do when they come in the room is say, well, did your mother have it? Well, did her mother have it? Well, did any close relative? And most of the time, that answer for us in the black community is yes. And so the moment we say yes, they have us. They know that we're only thinking that, dang, it's only genetics, or such and such gave it to me, that's why I have it. And what we don't realize is we can change our genetic pool if we change the way we eat. Hence the high blood, all the things that African Americans lead in when it comes to bad health. If we changed our diet, Auntie would have survived. Auntie Bernice wouldn't have died, and we wouldn't have been at the funeral. It's like that's the norm now, and we don't even make no big issue about it. Well, Uncle such and such passed because he had gout or high blood pressure or diabetes. It's as if we all got a shot clock in a expiration date based on our normal illness that we carry from mama or grandmama, when actually it's grandmama and mama did the best with raising us, but they weren't all the way educated on health and nutrition. And the reason why we have these things going on in our genetic pool in our family, and it's not a generational curse. It's because we're not eating right. And the moment we change the way we eat, those illnesses will leave the body.
And you're beginning to hear that more and more, the processed food, the white food, all of that. But now tell me, who do you see as your typical client for Rated R? Is it somebody who's already faithful, who's already realizing that maybe they should not be eating this, using this white flour and these,
I like to typically target, I like to say the people that are more lost. I definitely target all people who seem like they're really seasoned with workouts. To give you an example, I meet a lot of people that's already vegan. They're very knowledgeable of nutrition. They may not just be that knowledgeable on workouts or how to implement the both to change the body to get to the image that they have in their head, and that's where I come in. But I like to typically target the people that are least that have this that don't really have the information, that don't have maybe even a membership, can't afford a membership, don't have any any kind of knowledge of health and nutrition. Sometimes even I like to say even going as far as somebody being ill already or overweight. I like to prove and show that with my knowledge, with my common knowledge. And a lot of trainers, you don't see it too much even on social media. A lot of trainers like to really highlight their workout. And
even taking chemicals too.
Yeah,
and we're down to the last minute.
Exactly.
God bless you, but but they don't. And they certainly don't talk, what you eat and what you do on Sunday.
Yep, because that's where it starts. That's the foundation. I like to start with the foundation. The foundation ain't the workout. It ain't the weights. The foundation is what you're putting into your body. So that's where I like to start.
Wow. I wish I had more time for you today, Anthony Ashe.
We definitely, well, you can always bring me back,
And you know what else, ladies and gentlemen? I'm thinking, well, maybe I need to go to the gym with him because my booty needs some work. But okay. So listen, thank you for coming out to South Florida Sunday today.
Thank you for having me.
And I really do. I think I would like you to come back. But now, if people want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
They can get in touch with me a variety of ways. If you prefer email, my email is the letter A as in apple, the name Jeremiah, the normal spelling of Jeremiah, and my last name, Ashe, A-S-H-E. So altogether, it's Jeremiah Ashe at gmail.com. That's one way via email, via social media. My Instagram is Rated R Fitness, the name of my business.
And y'all should see those. I went on there and looked at those pictures. Wow.
It's definitely real. No Photoshop, no editing. It is the real deal. Also, Facebook, if you're more acclimated with Facebook, it's my name, first name Anthony, last name Ashe. Again, Anthony Ashe on Facebook. Instagram, it's Rated R Fitness. And my email, jeremiahash at gmail.com.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you for coming on to the show, Mr. Rated R.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in again to the big event on this Sunday morning, the second Sunday of the year 2019. I am Marian Dozier of tysmedia.net, and we will talk to you in a week. Have a good Sunday.